guys ever wondered?
No.
Alright, okay.
I've never wondered.
That's good to know. Good to know. Says something about you, I think. Anyway, how are you feeling? You good?
Me?
Yeah, you. I'm asking about you. I'm looking after the well-being of my friend.
I want to be playing Fire Emblem. I don't want to be doing anything else but playing Fire Emblem right now.
That sounds dangerously addictive, Austin.
It's so good. I'll save it.
Alright. I was gonna say, do you ever wonder why, like, in movies and games that feature zombie Nazis, they almost always spawn with, like, working weapons?
Do they?
I think so.
Usually zombie Nazis are just bitey.
Some of them are bitey.
We've just accepted that as a word now.
And Austin, you're a jerk for thinking that the White Stripes are better than the Raconteurs.
The White Stripes have a deeper catalog. Like, the Raconteurs have 2 or 3 albums.
The Raconteurs have like 4, I think. Dead Weather's only got 2. I can understand liking the Raconteurs better than the Dead Weather, but liking the White Stripes more than the Raconteurs.
I feel like it's such a hipster thing to say.
Tisk, Austin. Tisk. No, they have a larger variety of style.
Well, yeah, but I like garage rock.
It allows for more complicated songwriting, is what it does.
Your songwriting. Okay, I finished this battle in Fire Emblem. I guess we can do this now.
You were two-timing us?
I had to finish.
I do that all the time. You guys just...
I expect it from you, Leon, but Austin...
I'm checking which Twitter followers unfollowed me in the last 24 hours right now while we're preparing for this show. Because that's something I do maybe once a week, twice a week. Up to...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another bone-chilling episode of Tales of Indefinite Prophecy, the podcast. I, your host, Johnny Melody, man of vision, seer of things unseen, am here to tell you the future in the most vague possible way with my co-seers, Leon Thomas and Austin Yorsky. We will paint a dramatic, if fuzzy, picture while we augur the vagaries of the future and spill the somewhat hazy beams of what you may expect in your life. Gentlemen, say good evening.
Good evening.
I predicted this intro sucked.
We'll begin!
You predicted I would say good evening, and then I just did it, so that's pretty good.
I see a man. He's doing something. Yes.
Is it Peter Postlewaite? No, wait, he's dead.
I don't know. No. He may have a sandwich. I cannot discern if he is in a sandwich shop.
Johnny.
He may be going somewhere, possibly
Johnny.
having money troubles.
Johnny.
Oh, that's too bad.
He's a bit itchy. Austin?
Maybe he's itchy because he has hives because he has money troubles. I'm putting this shit together.
Austin?
Did you have like a planned like punchline, or are you?
Do you read anything?
Excuse me?
I'm asking you if you read anything.
I read.
What grim portents of the future?
I'm pretending that we should move on before this gets any dumber.
It's important to know the future because that's where we're going to spend the rest of our lives.
Austin, you have absolutely no talent for vague prediction. Can you not just be like, he's got hair? I think he's wearing shoes. Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not in the mood for this,
I sense
Johnny.
he's tired.
If he has hair and he's wearing shoes, it can't be me because I have almost no hair and I'm barefoot right now.
I think somebody very close to this podcast, with hair and shoes, feeling a bit tired, may or may not have a sandwich in the near future, possibly in a sandwich shop. Genius!
Johnny?
Yes?
Are you going to the sandwich shop later?
But I'm not wearing any shoes.
Austin, you're the one. He's talking about you. You're going to get a sandwich.
No, I really am not. After this is over, I am not going to get a sandwich.
At some point in your life, you're going to have a sandwich.
Yeah, a knuckle sandwich.
So, video games.
I was intimating, Austin, that I should probably punch you at some point in time, but only if it's in a sandwich shop.
No, I got that.
And you're wearing shoes, and if you're tired.
I'm actually not wearing shoes right now.
Don't ever be tired in the same room with me, Austin, or you're gonna get it.
That sounds like way more sinister than I think you meant it. Like that was like more Freddy Krueger than anything.
Oh yeah, yeah. You watch out, Yorsky. I'm coming for you someday in a sandwich shop.
So, did you guys hear that they announced a thing?
I did. I know. Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Best Picture going to Argo. Good thing. Good for Ben Affleck, man.
Yeah, when he was just an actor, I was like, eh. But now, that he's directing, I feel like he really found his calling. So good for him. That was an important announcement that just happened.
Yeah. And also, Daniel Day-Lewis being the only actor to ever get Best Lead Actor Oscar for 3 times. Groundbreaking. Fantastic. What a crazy dude. I hope that when he was in, character for Lincoln 24/7, that he never had sex with his wife. Because that would weird me right the fuck out.
Or he could have just called her Mary Todd or whatever.
That would still weird me right the fuck out.
I feel like you're missing the gay subtext here, Austin.
Am I?
I feel like you are.
Where was it?
Never mind.
I feel like I would have picked up on it if there was gay subtext. That's kind of my area of expertise. Hanging out with you two has made me really acutely aware of such things.
Well, maybe now we are trying to out-gay subtext you.
Yeah.
This is a game of cat and mouse that only one of 2 parties wins.
Just like a game of cat and mouse?
I feel like I'm the cat. I want to be the cat.
Maybe. I don't know, Leon. Are you... I'm not even sure, how the parties are divided up.
Okay.
Am I on your team, Leon, or are you on Austin's team? What's going on?
We're the cats. He's the mouse.
Okay.
We're both cats.
Yes. Fabulous cats.
No, we're one cat. It's like a suit, like a Halloween costume where one half is like the back. Yeah.
Okay,
a
fabulous cat.
Yeah, okay.
We're all like, oh, well, I never. Did you ever see a cat so clever as Magical Leon and Johnny Maloney's?
I actually got that reference. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Sorry, I got musicals.
I did not.
That was Cats. Cats the musical.
Oh, I do like musicals, but I've never seen that one.
It was also based on T.S. Eliot. I was going for that reference, thank you very much, because...
Oh, okay.
T.S. Eliot, way classier.
I do know who that is.
I was into Cats before it was even a musical, yo.
Okay, we've had some pretty questionable introductions to this podcast before, but this may be the worst that we've ever done. Let's try this again. Hey guys, did you hear they announced a thing?
The PS4.
Leon's like, I hate video games. Why do I keep doing this?
I was trying to think of really, really quickly another announcement that they made in the past couple of days.
Yeah. If you guys want to talk about it in a sort of a journalisty way, go ahead. Or I could just delve into my I play video games but don't care about what's coming out kind of way.
I think we should fucking start with that. I think Leon, I think you should lead off of us, because in all honesty, despite the fact that these press conferences that they have, E3 press conferences and pre-show conferences and pre-shows, in the end, it's gotten to the point now where it's pretty much advertisement. It's not. They don't talk to journalists. They're talking to the public. I want to know you, Leon Q. Public. How do you feel about this? What is in the first place? What do you what do you know about the PS4?
I read a bunch of articles and I watched a bit of it, and I read about what games are coming out and the advancements in architecture and hardware and social networking and blah 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 this and blah 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 that. Here's what I think about the PlayStation 4, and this is going to sound really obvious at first, but then I'm going to elaborate. It feels like a sequel. And not just because it has another number next to it, but it just feels like PlayStation 3 was, the graphics got better, and it was a little more social, and PS4, the graphics are a little better, and apparently there's a few more social functions, and the big games they announced are sequels to their first-party-ish or whatever intellectual properties, that being Infamous and Killzone. And it just feels like, you know what, and I know it sounds like really obvious, but it just feels like the next PlayStation. That's it. It's like, look, we made another one.
But Leon, this new Killzone game doesn't have a number next to it. Huh?
You know what? Colons count. Okay, I feel like if you have a colon next to your name, you pretty much know what you're getting. Rarely is there a game with a colon next to it and it's the first one. Occasionally, but not often. And
I do understand what you're saying though. Like and
you know what? It's almost worse to have the colon because you're not even committing to it. You're not committing to it that it's the next one. It's just the side one. It's the God of War that they made after God of War 3, but didn't want to call it God of War 4.
It was we couldn't figure out how to advance the main storyline, so here's a tangential storyline that may or may not seem like we're actually advancing the storyline, but we're really not. But I think your original point here, Leon, about it feeling like a sequel, yeah, I completely agree. It really did. It felt like, I swear to God, when I was watching it, I hazed out for a second, and suddenly this giant bald man in like a red bow tie was like standing on the stage waving his hands going, "It is happening again. It is happening again." And then he disappeared. So.
Here's the thing.
Wait, are we just ignoring the fact that Johnny was tripping balls while he was watching the Sony event? We're just going to gloss over that? Well, what the hell are you talking about?
We gloss over it every other day that I'm tripping balls. Why do we have to make a big deal about this one?
I guess I didn't notice that sometimes you just hallucinate.
Where do you want...
Well, anyway.
These weird analogies or,
Okay, Leon, go.
I'm sorry. I have things.
Okay.
You know what it felt like? It felt like, and I'm being a little cynical here. I don't like to be that guy. What it felt like was when these guys kept coming out and saying, back in the PS3 days, everything was like in dinosaur times. But now, finally, after years of scratching and clawing, we now have this. I mean, check out the polygons. Do you see how many polygons I can shove in this polygon? Man, the very polygonness of this, or whatever the hell they were saying. The point is, it's prettier, and that's fine, I guess. But and maybe I'm just trying to have a jerk here, but it didn't look that prettier. It didn't look that much better. And even if it did, so what? And David Cage saying, video games are all about emotion, and the only way to do that is visually. I'm like, you're full of shit. You're full of shit because books, for one thing, that's number one. And number two, I'm playing Final Fantasy VI right now, and back when it was called 3 on the SNES, not even the PlayStation 1 version with the little CG things thrown in in an unnecessary way. I'm talking about SNES, Final Fantasy 3-ish, 6, whatever. And it's plenty emotional, and it does so mostly through text and music, which is, music has advanced as well, but you can get away with good music even in those days. And I just heard him talk, and I'm like, you don't know what emotions are. You've been playing with video games and living in a video game world and working on computers so long that you're a robot.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
Jason! That was all.
I'm convinced that's a mistranslation. He's French. Whatever word he thinks emotion is in English isn't what the word is in French. He was just misinformed. He's trying to say something else entirely. That's the only explanation that makes any sense.
No, I'm with Leon. He's a tool.
He was saying something like, what was it like? He was trying to compare like old silent film. It's like, the era of silent film. I mean, Charlie Chaplin, what a piece of shit he was. I'm like, what the fuck? You completely misunderstand cinema. And also, by the way, black and white is not only a technical limitation. There are actually things you can do with black and white that doesn't look as good if you did it in color, and I'm talking about use of shadow. So that's one thing. And second of all, advancements in technology are not advancements in emotion in gaming. That's very Star Trek knowledge. It's like in Star Trek Generations, like when Data says, "Finally, we have the technology for my emotion chip." That's what I feel like David Cage is referencing here. It's like, finally, we have the technology for emotion, everyone. We've made the chip.
Maybe the PS4 is going to emit some sort of like pheromones when you play David Cage games, so that it's like, now is when you feel sad.
That would be a fine technological move forward, but instead they just made it prettier. And I know it's more complex than that. I'm not a programmer, so I don't understand entirely every single little bit and piece that everyone had to work really, really, really hard on to make that look that much better. I understand that a lot of work went into it to make it look that much better than the PS3, and I respect the work that they put into that, but that doesn't mean better games. That doesn't mean better story or better emotion. And I'm not saying stop making better graphics. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is, don't think of it as an advancement in something that it's not. It's an advancement in graphics. Graphics are an advancement in graphics. And that's it. That's all it is. Graphics are not an advancement in gameplay. Graphics are not an advancement in storytelling. And that's almost what it seems like David Cage was saying. And it really confused me, and it made me rage a little bit in sort of a nerdish way. And the strange thing is, it almost felt like Jonathan Blow was the least head up his ass guy there, and that's amazing for Jonathan Blow. He was just there. He's not even committed to the PS4. He has a timed exclusive with them, which means it's just there. It's on the PS4 for a little while because I guess they paid him a little more, and then he's going to put it on other platforms. He just showed up and said, "Look at my game. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. This is, there were some other games, and they were only okay, but I think I have a really good game here, and look at my game." And that's effectively what he said. He said a little bit more than that. And sometimes people can say that Jonathan Blow is a little pretentious, and I don't like to throw that word around. But mostly he was just there to promote his game and not be completely douchey, and he somehow managed it, at least to me.
That never occurred to me before, but I'm actually, like, now that I think about it, like, the lengths that you have to go through as, like, an event planner, an event director, as a PR manager, to actually get it so that Jonathan Blow is the least douchey person that shows up on your stage, that is some incredible spin.
He just didn't look like he wanted to be there.
Well,
I doubt he did.
He's not committed to the PS4. He was just there to promote his game, and I'm sure he did that really reasonably well. I kind of want to play it.
I'm interested
That's
to play it. As much as I hated it because I don't know. It seems very misty at this point in time, as in MYST. As much as I hated Myst because it was a disaster and it was an awful game, and I don't think anybody should play it or speak of it except derogatively. It looks a little misty, but I'm like, hey, yeah, okay.
Maybe he'll do an okay job. I mean, I really like Braid, so maybe if this is as good or in the same ballpark as that, I'll like it well enough.
It will speak to his versatility, as a developer, I think, and I'm at least curious for that. So you're not super stoked about the PS3 coming out then, Leon? You're just sort of like,
yeah. Well, okay.
It's a thing that's replacing this other thing that kind of already exists. Only it's a little newer.
It's almost unnecessary, but I know that eventually they were going to do it. Here's the thing, and this is just a personal thing. It has nothing to do with the industry or anything I just said before. From a personal level, I'm not buying the PS4 at launch, and I might not buy it at all, and that is because it really doesn't really... How do I put this? Most of the first-party kind of games that I want to play are Nintendo games. One day I will buy a Wii U, and I'll play those games. most of the third-party games I want to play on the Xbox 360 or PS3 are on PC, and I don't have to buy anything extra for it. And I didn't ever think that I would become a PC guy, but they're making it easier for me to be one because I already have a PC, and I don't really have to upgrade it anytime soon. And Steam makes everything relatively inexpensive for me. And it feels like the only reason I'm buying consoles is to buy JRPGs, because they just never come to PC. Almost never, anyway. And I don't know. I don't feel enthused to buy the next PlayStation. I'm not even sure I'll feel enthused to buy the next Xbox. If in fact they'll call it an Xbox or whatever they're going to call it. And
I
part
think
of that
they
is
should call
budget.
it the Q Zone.
Well, whatever they do call it, I just feel like how do I put this without pissing off Sony and Xbox fanboys? There's not enough difference between an Xbox 360 and a PS3, except some of the exclusive titles. They're machines, and most of your best titles are going to be third-party titles that are also on PC. And I mean, that's broad strokes. I know. I liked Infamous on the PlayStation 3. I liked Beautiful Katamari on Xbox 360. But for the most part, I don't know. I don't want to get all prophetic and say like consoles are going to die this generation, because people say that kind of thing all the time. But but correct me if I'm wrong, and you guys follow sort of the details more than I do. Didn't they say Microsoft lost money on the 360? And didn't they say the same thing about Sony and PlayStation 3?
Yeah, because what winds up happening is that they sell them to consumers at a rate that consumers are pretty much willing to pay. I mean, you pour all this technology into making your console so it's easily accessible, it works right out of the box, it's standardized technology, but you want it to look good. You want it to look and feel good, so you need to present something kind of flashy. So what they do then is they sell it to the consumer at a reduced rate, and then they make money back mainly on licensing fees. So when a company's like, oh, I want to make a game, and then, you know, whoever's in charge of that company goes, okay, well, what would you like to publish this game for? And they go, well, surely I would like to publish it for the Microsoft Xbox 360 and the Sony PlayStation 3. That company then has to, A, buy dev kits. So you need to buy kits specifically designed for the development of games for those consoles. So you are buying dev kits directly from the company. And you're buying a whackload of them, too. You're not just buying like one or two. If you want to make one game, you need a lot of them. And then you need to fork over some money to them for it to be an Xbox 360 sanctioned game, an official Sony PlayStation 3 game. And that's how you make money back. You promise game developers that you are going to have your console in the home of X millions of people, and if you make a game for our console, you too could sell X millions of copies of that game.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. If Microsoft lost money on the 360 and Sony lost money on the PS3,
only on the sales. This is an important distinction. They didn't lose money like sum total. But if we're talking about the dollars that came directly from people who bought the consoles, and we're not taking into account licensing or dev kits or, you know, anything like that, anything past that, they were selling their consoles at a loss to the consumer.
Okay. But what I'm wondering is, how much total profit did they make? I mean, how much above water did they get? I mean, and again, I'm not sure how I would even find those numbers, but
the only statistic that counts is apparently they made enough money to do it again.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking. I mean, I guess they made enough that they want to try it again, but neither of them, and I don't want to get all console war-y, but neither of them won this time. The Wii sort of did.
I I think this console generation was long enough that we can basically say that nobody won. We had short-term leaders, but in the end, it was all just kind of like, 2011, Sony PlayStation 3 sales are catching up.
Yeah, but I mean, in total sold, didn't we sell the most?
Oh yeah,
or am I wrong?
It completely smashed them. But in terms of game sales and people who actually had active Wii consoles, I think that was probably a smaller number.
Well, I'll stop talking about this because I'm curious about it, but I'm also wondering what you guys thought about the PlayStation 4. I've sort of given my everyman perspective. When you were watching the thing there, what did you think?
Well, I think, Johnny, would you agree that the biggest announcement actually wasn't even for consumers? It was for devs when they unveiled the new technology that will be easier to make games for.
Yeah, the fact that it's going to be using an x86 chipset is going to be like Sony. In that move alone, I think the Sony library of games is going to expand so markedly. Like, I mean, their stable of games is going to get huge. Not just in say more optimized games from AAA developers and things like that, but I think it's going to mean a lot more indie developers coming to their online services. Three guys coding in like a basement suite in the middle of like Tulsa can't afford to buy a PS3 dev kit. Maybe they could if they saved up for a couple of months or whatever. Maybe they don't know who to talk to. Maybe Sony doesn't even take them seriously. Maybe they're not interested because this is their first game. They want to see how it goes. So they code on an x86 chip, which is easy to put to the Xbox. The Xbox runs on a Windows shell. It has an x86 chipset. And of course you're going to be able to release a game for PC. So we're looking at way more optimization, way more like low-end indie developers. Sony is really interested in competing in this market, and I can't say that I'm surprised either. Considering that, and pardon me for PC elitism, but there's no denying that over the past 15 years, home console gaming has gotten progressively more and more and more and more like having a PC in your home. It can stream movies. You can put Skype on it. You can call your friends with it. You can, buy things on it. It's becoming more of an all-access, just plug it into your TV and you're good to go kind of thing, rather than the awkward hassle of custom making your PC and getting it so that it works properly with your TV, and you don't know if you bought the right TV, and maybe your amp doesn't do blah, 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 blah. So I can't say that I'm surprised that Sony's done this, but I have to say that I'm impressed by it, because it is a step away from keeping full control of everything that goes on in your system.
Of course, the drawback, which is what consumers are pretty pissed about, is that
backwards compatibility.
Yeah, it will not be able to natively emulate older PlayStation games, which means you're going to have to pay for probably a subscription to whatever streaming service they make.
Those are PlayStation 3 games, at least. That's going to be a huge problem. As I understand it, things are still kind of iffy about, the PS2. Is that right?
Well, as of this point, none of the PlayStation Network purchases are going to carry over, so it doesn't. You might not be able to see any of that stuff outside of the streaming service they have going.
Well, the question is whether or not that's a choice that they've made, or an actual technical limitation. We have to consider the possibility that it's a choice that they've made.
I think it's a combination of a couple of things. On one hand, backwards compatibility is important to us, but the average consumer who just buys Grand Theft Auto, Madden, and Call of Duty probably doesn't give a shit. So it's not actually that big of concession from their perspective.
But why would you not want to play Madden 2003? That was such a good year.
And the other part is, yes, technology, they made the decision to move forward with this more accessible architecture, and unfortunately they just couldn't work it. So you know,
I
it's both.
am sad for the backwards compatibility. I mean, I understand what it's like to not have access to your old stable of games. You know, it happened to me very recently when I upgraded to a 64-bit operating system, and I was like, "What do you mean I can't install Homeworld?" Oh well, I guess I'll just have to run a shell of Windows XP 32-bit. So for about 5 minutes there, I was really distressed.
Oh.
I know.
PC World problems.
It was a horrible day. Talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can get away with having minimal PS4 talk because I feel like most people have probably made up their minds already.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of talk out there about it, and we're still waiting for a lot of details on it. But what we got was basically two different messages. Was they don't care about people who are, like us, who are into things like backwards compatibility and JRPGs, but they are making steps towards people who want to talk on Facebook and, whatever, while they're playing games. That crowd is going to be catered to, and also developers. So
it's obvious that they felt the squeeze from Xbox Live. It's obvious that they noticed. They must have had people, like in a Sony Computer Entertainment of America somewhere playing Xboxes in these like completely darkened, walled off rooms, being like, "Oh, really? You can do that when you're connected? Oh, that's handy. That's Xbox, Netflix." Shh.
Johnny, I think you're missing the important thing here, and that is you'll be able to play Diablo 3 on your PS4.
Yay.
You had to fucking bring it up, didn't you?
oh, and you can play it offline.
Those limp-dicked motherfucking liars!
This is the best.
When Diablo 3 was coming out, Blizzard made huge fucking noise about how this game was designed to be always online, and it was the optimal experience to be always online, and if you weren't always online, oh good God, man, you were living in the 17th century in a Mennonite colony. Fuck those guys! Fuck them for coming around and deliberately changing their fucking idea of what their game should have been by doing things like adding a dodge button and, being able to use a controller with it. Two things that were explicitly described on the PC as being against their vision of the game's design. Never mind this always online bullshit. And then just being like, yeah, we're so excited to bring it to the PS4 without all these things that were so important to the game design. Liars!
Are you saying a big company lied to the consumer? What? You're crazy. Stop being crazy, Johnny.
I would not, I wouldn't bat an eye if these motherfuckers stepped up to the podium and we're like, PC gamers are a bunch of thieves. It's always online. I'd be like, well, fuck you too, but I guess I can respect your honesty. But I cannot abide by such two-facedness. And of course, you can't just fucking come out and say that and then not address the fact that you are changing the game entirely away from your core audience. As if, people who were, really fucking super into Diablo 2 have been like, you know what? I don't really feel like playing Diablo 3 by clicking with my mouse anymore. I feel like it's done. I'm gonna buy a PS3 and never look back. They're spitting on their fan base. They're spitting on people who put them where they are. They're spitting on MMO players and real-time strategy players and dungeon crawler players who have done nothing but play with a mouse and keyboard for as long as Blizzard has fucking existed as a company.
Can I call this episode Johnny is Butthurt?
It's not even a case of butthurt, because
it's actually a reasonable reaction to some shady doings.
It's disloyal. Is what it is. It is completely, it is neglecting all of the money that I have poured into their company and them saying, I really don't give a single fuck about what you think anymore. So I'm going to go to these other guys, and I'm going to give them everything that you were looking for, and we're not even going to address your concerns. It's fucking jumping ship. And the last time it happened, it was called Enterplay Entertainment, and they sank like a rock.
Johnny's butt's so hurt right now.
Do you think that gamers are super excited about playing Diablo 3?
I think it'll sell reasonably well.
Did the PC version sell like crazy? Because I thought it did.
It broke every single record imaginable.
That's what I heard.
Record imaginable. And then about a month afterwards, everybody was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, the backlash was pretty violent.
The backlash was terrible. There were, like, legal actions in several countries. I think one of them is still going on in Korea, actually.
Koreans take video gaming very seriously.
They take Blizzard video gaming very seriously. StarCraft is like their national sport.
Yeah, I lived there, and I asked my students from time to time, what do you want to be when you grow up? And some of them said gamer, professional gamer, pro gamer.
Yeah.
One time I thought they said, oh, you mean a programmer? Like you want to program things? They say, no, pro gamer. Say, all right, fine, that's your thing here. I'm not gonna say it.
I think I like that it's weird for someone to want to grow up to be a pro gamer, as if growing up to play a game, like I don't know, perhaps a sport as a profession would be something that we frown upon as a society. Like we've accepted that people literally get up in the morning and play football for their job.
Not only that, but we're so interested in it that like we need to know where they ate lunch.
Yeah,
the only major difference to me, and I don't want to bash the idea of wanting to play a video game over wanting to play a sport. I obviously want to play a video game, but the sports are spectator. They're spectator things. You go and it's a massive thing. I mean, besides the Let's Plays, I don't see video gaming as a spectator sport exactly. Maybe I'm wrong.
I watch a lot of
for it, dude. League of Legends? Oh my god.
Yeah,
millions and millions of dollars are funneling into prizes for these fucking tournaments.
Okay.
It's still in its infancy, but I hope someday that it's not considered any more weird to go to work and play with sports objects than it is to go to work and just play video games.
I think it's going to take a generation or two.
Yeah.
But I think we'll see it in our lifetime. There we go. That's a vague prophecy for you.
But I don't know. It just divorced from the cultural context. It's like some people play soccer as a profession. Isn't that just weird?
Soccer?
Yes. No, I'm sorry. I'm not sure. Sorry. Never mind. No, I have nothing against soccer or any sport. I just don't care. That's all.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Johnny.
Stop pretending you don't know what we're saying. Okay. I don't mean to be that American, but
it makes no fucking sense.
No, I don't mean to be that kind of American, but you know what? Canadians know what Americans are talking about when we say our words. Americans don't know what Canadians are always talking about when they say their words.
Leon,
explain to me why it makes more sense that game you play is called football.
I don't.
Where you kick around a ball with your feet exclusively is called soccer.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that I think people in Canada know what we're talking about. But when you guys say Z, we're like, what?
I refuse. The thing is, I refuse to acknowledge it as football. Because it makes no fucking sense.
Johnny, both the word football and soccer are of British origin. They decided that both of those were acceptable for that sport, so I choose to say soccer. Also, Leon, you and I should talk American the whole podcast so Johnny can't understand us.
Feet. Inches. I'm trying to think
Cheeseburger.
Of they have those there.
Yes, we have all those things there.
The Alamo.
Yeah, I've seen that movie. It was terrible.
But you don't have one.
No, we don't have an Alamo.
You don't have any Alamos.
American soldiers got as far north as the 49th parallel. Oh, it's a bit cold. Let's go home.
You don't have any Alamos. Not even one.
That's because no one has the balls to invade us.
Why would you want to invade a place with no freedom?
What do you mean, no freedom? We have like 20 times gay marriage that you do, Austin.
You damn it, Austin, you screwed up. You said the thing that was the opposite. Now you ruined it. You ruined it. Canada is way. Never mind. I don't want to get into it.
By the way, you do know that we do things like jailbreak iPhones and things like that here. You know, stuff that your Supreme Court declared was illegal a few months ago.
Johnny, what's the bald eagle population of Canada?
It's actually higher than that in America.
Hey, Johnny, why don't you shut up?
Hey, Austin. Suck it.
You fucked this up, Austin. You started bringing, like, social issues into it, and Canada is, like, 10 years ahead of us in those things.
Yeah, but it's really cold there, so fuck that.
Actually, you know, we enjoyed a really comfortable day in Vancouver today of about 9 degrees Celsius, because that makes sense as a temperature.
Not a word. Not a word. Not a real word. Sorry. I've decided.
Celsius?
Yeah, it doesn't count because I got nothing.
Oh God, we gotta move on. Johnny?
Yes.
I don't care what you're playing. Leon, what have you been playing?
Oh shit. Nothing. Sorry. Damn it. I'm sorry. Stuff came up. I spent not that much time, but a fair amount of time on the road, trafficking. That's the wrong word for this.
Cocaine.
Getting my wife to and from Washington D.C. for a job she had to do. And
you're just like admitting to trafficking on the podcast.
Trafficking. But no. Beyond that, I have no real excuse for not playing it. I really, really want to. I just I worked all day today, and then I did this, and immediately after this, I'm watching a movie with my wife because that's more interesting to me. We are going to watch The Impossible, which apparently is a movie that's really good that I only just learned about a couple hours ago.
I've heard things about that, actually.
Yeah, so we're gonna watch that and some other stuff eventually. And tomorrow or the day after, perhaps, I will be playing just the fuck out of Final Fantasy VI. I have other shit to do, you know, with my life. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't want to go back to Leon doesn't play video games era of this podcast. But so I really do want to get back into playing Final Fantasy VI, and I will have something to report next time. Perhaps I will be suplexing the Ghost Train by next time. I'm pretty close to it.
Fantastic. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's all I got to say.
Austin?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forget we always do this like round robin. Austin, now it's your turn because I'm passing it to you.
No, I was going to tell Austin that, Austin, are you sure you don't care about what I played? Because you might be surprised.
Unless you played Fire Emblem, I don't really want to hear about it.
Oh, well, fuck! Tell me about Fire Emblem!
No, you go first.
No, I want to hear it. Tell me
No. Wait, hold on. First, before we do that, have you played Crysis 3?
No.
Okay.
No, I have not played Crysis 3.
Okay. I reviewed that on...
Because I have a thing against paying Electronic Arts for $60 games, and...
Yeah.
I enjoyed Crysis 2, I did. You know, it was all right. It was disjointed. The plot was a little like... and that's what we got! You know.
Yeah, it's more of that, basically.
I figured it would be, because everything that I've ever read that Servat Yearly has said is like, that guy must have heavy machinery somehow lodged in his head, because he makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
But no, I'll wait till Crysis 3 drops to what I consider a reasonable price, as opposed to what Electronic Arts considers a reasonable price. So
if you're listening, my review is up on site, so I wasn't gonna bore you guys with that unless you also played it, and we can talk about it a little bit. But there's that if you want to read it. So
I think I skimmed it. I think I saw it.
That's like the most insulting thing you can say to a writer.
No,
You're like, I saw it, but I didn't feel like committing.
No. When did it go up?
I don't even know what day it is right now, Johnny.
Okay. because it was I've been ill, unfortunately. So there were periods of my life that I've spent in the last few days in what I can only describe as a delirious fugue state. So tell me about Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem's so good. I was supposed to be I wanted to finish Far Cry 3 this week, but every time I went to play it, I picked up Fire Emblem instead. I've been neglecting everything else in my life to play this game. It's really not good for my health, but I can't stop. It's so good.
Now, this is a strategic role-playing game, right? Much like in the style of Final Fantasy Tactics or Shining Force 1 or 2.
Yeah, me and Taylor were arguing about this. I told him it basically shits all over those games. Fuck Final Fantasy Tactics. Doesn't have anything on Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem has always been amazing, but this one is just the next level of awesome. It's like, I probably mentioned this before, but Valkyria Chronicles is my favorite game, or maybe favorite new IP of the last generation.
Yes, and this is the World War II-esque JRPG with, again,
more like a strategy JRPG.
It's an SRPG, but it has a different, it's not tile-based. That's the difference between Valkyria and Fire Emblem. It's distance-based instead of tiles.
So wait, which is distance-based instead of tiles? Valkyria Chronicles is distance-based?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but it's that. It's beautiful art style, very anime-esque, a great soundtrack, likable characters, engaging story, just everything across the board is fantastic. The difference is in Valkyria Chronicles, you get predetermined character interactions. Certain characters like each other, some fall in love, some have rivalries. Fire Emblem, you decide what happens. Not every single, but almost every single one of your 40 soldiers can have relationships with the other ones. And you have to play through the game 40 times to see everything. It's overwhelming how much writing there is. And it's so great in the day and age when you see companies just cutting corners everywhere they can, that they would write a friendship arc for every possible soldier in an entire army. What is, who greenlit that? That's madness.
Well, this is one of the things that I think Leon alluded to earlier on when he was talking about, emotion, polygons. Oh, buy the PS4 because it has more teraflops. There's no substitute for good game design. And when you go that extra mile, it works. I mean, I'm not saying that games can't be overproduced. I'm just saying that there are certain things that you should aspire to engage the audience with. And good writing is never a mistake.
Yeah, you say overproduced. I mean, it's possible to just basically show off your budget, but this is not even anywhere near that. This is just effort. It's people who really wanted to do good work just got the opportunity to do so, and it's just so much content. You could play this game for the rest of your life, and it's just it's as easy or as difficult as you could want it to be, because they've added this new casual mode, but you can still play it on. It's super hard, extreme plus or something. There's a fucking difficulty mode where it basically just kills you, and there's no hope of survival. So you can't even say that it's dumbed down. I can't think of enough nice things to say about it, except perhaps if you read Robert's review, one of the cons he said was the plot is a little obvious. If you look at the front of the box too hard, it kind of spoils something. Okay, it's not really spoilers. Maybe, I don't know, because it's super obvious. If you look at the box of the game, right, there's the main character, and then there's a character wearing a mask, and they have the same sword and have the same hair color. Do you see where I'm going with this?
That seems a little obvious.
The person with the mask isn't hiding their identity very well, is all I'm saying. So if you go into it expecting for that revelation to blow you away, perhaps that's something you can hold against it. Besides that, besides that one thing, it's just outstanding. I said in an article earlier that it's basically worth the price of a 3DS alone, but that's not even saying that much considering how many great games a 3DS has all of a sudden. Luigi's Mansion and Tales of the Abyss and Devil Survivor Overclocked is all up JRPGs up in there. And then you got the new Mario Brothers 2, and you got the new Shin Megami Tensei. There's just, it's crazy. 3DS is great.
I'm really glad to hear that the 3DS is doing well, because so many people were complainant that it banked entirely on a design. It was all like, oh, gimmick 3D, as if, like, you know, the only thing it was going to offer was something in 3D, as opposed to good things that may also be in 3D.
Yes,
because those things exist.
The DS had like the deepest library of this generation, just like quality stuff wall to wall. And the 3DS, I was worried originally that it was going to be nothing but 3D gimmickry, but I mean the only game I played where I would even advise turning on the 3D is Kid Icarus, because that game has a pretty interesting depth of field stuff going on through the flight sections. But everything else, you don't even lose anything if you just leave it off the whole time. Like, fuck it.
It's easy enough. I play with a 3D setup on my PC. And when it works amazingly. And when it doesn't, I turn it off.
It's
Yeah.
a good plan.
So, hopefully I will finish Far Cry 3 this week, and we can talk about it next week.
Yeah,
but
we can get all Heart of War, Darkness, Alice, and Wonder shoot you in the head.
I've played, like I said before, I've played a couple hours of it, and it's super good, but I don't know how much I have to say about it for how far I am. We'll have to wait a little bit when the plot gets going.
Well, you know, the thing about it is it's almost a game that lives purely on its mechanics. But we can talk about that.
Yeah. We've been over that. We went with James on the podcast who's pissing me off recently.
Yeah.
Can you believe this shit, guys? Have you seen this on Twitter? James was trying to argue with me that Devil May Cry, the recent reboot, was better than Revengeance.
I would have something to say about that if I had played any of their games, but I haven't, so I feel strongly about my ambivalence.
I don't see how a person...
But seeing as how we're talking to each other right now, I'm on your side, Austin, I promise.
I reviewed both, and Devil May Cry is not offensive or anything, but it's just your average hack and slash. Like, every moment of Revengeance is a highlight. Like, how can you ever... He said later that when he's been playing Revengeance, and now that he doesn't suck at it, it's better. But it's like, you being terrible is not an excuse for your opinions. Stop sucking, James. I'm like super fucking ornery today.
No, it's all right. No, I get the sentiment.
What else? We were arguing about something else before too. I can't remember. It's not been a good week to disagree with me, I suppose.
The great thing about arguing with someone who's not here is you get the last word.
That'll teach him. He probably doesn't care.
Okay.
He's probably playing League of Legends right now.
He plays a lot of League of Legends.
Which would explain a lot about his taste.
It may very well.
Still, guys, Revengeance is still so good.
I believe you.
Okay.
Still so good. I got really lucky like the last couple times. Like before, when I was playing games and they just weren't good. There was the Aliens thing, and then the couple games before that, I was just not in a good streak. The last couple games I played have been really good. So hopefully things are turning around. Have you guys seen the Tomb Raider reviews?
No, I haven't seen any.
What's being said?
Oh, it's knocking it out of the park. The Square lifted the embargo like 2 weeks ahead of release because everything just 9s and 10s. Everywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
I was not expecting that much for it.
Mm.
I thought it would be solid. It would basically just be like Uncharted with a little bit less linearity, but apparently...
Yeah, I figured it was going to be like a steady 7 or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I think
Great.
the lowest I've seen is like an 8.
Jeez.
So Square said that they should send that to Robert soon, so hopefully we'll have a pre-release review. But we will have a review of some kind anyway, and so you'll be able to read that with your face. Guys, video games.
Yeah?
Yep, video games.
I played a football game.
Tell us.
Now, no, you don't let that go, Leon. Did you play a football game, or did you play a soccer game?
Oh, right.
Well, I played a game that was based on a league that has the word football in their acronym.
So you just called it. The point is, you just called it football. Is my point.
You played a soccer game, and now you're trying to cover your ass.
No, I played FIFA.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, you know, the Federation of International Football Association. Yeah, FIFA.
That's not a thing.
That's a football. Yeah.
Stop making things up.
No,
Which FIFA did you play?
I actually played FIFA 13.
It's pretty good.
Well, I discovered a secret to making sports games really good.
Understanding the sport itself and not being a dick.
I was gonna go with stop playing them. No, I'm dead serious. If you stop playing a sports game for 5, 6, 7, 8, I can't remember the last time I played a FIFA game. I think I have the box around here somewhere, and now I'm wrecking everything and spilling dust everywhere. Give me a second. Yeah, 10 years ago, FIFA 2003 was the last sports game that I really played, and I got an email from, I think it might have been Direct to Drive, or I don't know. GameFly owns someone now, and so does GameStop or something, and they were like, FIFA 13, 50% off, and I was like, huh, $25? You got it. So yeah, I've been playing FIFA 13 actually, because like I said, I was kind of ill this past week and sort of jumping in and out of consciousness. So I was like, okay, sports, I can do this. Although, you know what? They hardly do any work to help somebody understand.
Like you do the tutorial?
No. Not how to play the game, but all the features. There's My FC, season, career. You've got a dozen different modes of gameplay, and they're like, this is a new one, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, the interface leaves a lot to be desired. I talked about that when I reviewed 13, but yeah, there's
fucking awful.
The main menu is just throwing you into the ocean. It's like, have fun, sucker.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're banking on actually having that crew of people who buy that game every single year and have kept up with it every single year. But the actual gameplay is great. I mean, fuck, there's 3 different pass buttons. That's awesome. And yes, just for reference sake, I am playing it with a controller. It's more finesse, far more finesse. But I'm really enjoying it, actually. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a little annoyed that my player right now is on loan from Liverpool to Stevenage. That kind of bugs me. Not because I have anything against Stevenage, but I wanted to play for Liverpool.
I never understood the way that they structure football leagues.
It's really simple, actually. There's a variety of different leagues, and at the end of every season, those that are at the top of lower leagues get pushed into the league above it, and those that are at the bottom get pushed to the league below it.
Yeah, so it's just even at the day-to-day interactions, when you the way that contracts work, you got to buy people's contracts, and there's a associated fee. It's just different because I follow hockey a lot. You have the ECHL and the WC whatever the other one that are under the NHL, right? And the teams don't move, just the players.
Yeah.
So, and it's just different. No one listening gives a shit, but
and then but every league that you have, it's basically like regions that you would have in the NHL or even in Major League Baseball. There's what is it the American League, and then there's something else. There's another league.
The National League?
Is it the National League? But yeah, so it's rather than them being divided by region, they're actually divided by sort of skill set, by qualifying. So each league has teams that are so the Premier League is the top. That's where you have your world famous teams, your Manchester United, your Chelsea, and until recently Liverpool. So that's where the creme de la creme show up. These guys play the best football. They have the best attendances, owners, sponsors. Those are the teams. And then underneath it is another league, and underneath that is another league, and another league, and another league, and and each league gets to compete for trophies in their range. It's almost like you would see minor league baseball, like AAA baseball, if like the top 3 teams in AAA baseball moved up to Major League, and the bottom 3 teams in Major League moved down to AAA at the end of every season. So you're always competing against people that are competing in your range, as opposed to having teams that are like at the bottom of each rung playing randomly against people that are like in the top 10 and just getting trounced like crazy. It's an attempt to try and make the game more exciting because you're having like kind of play against like, if that makes any sense.
No, I mean, it makes perfect sense, and it's the exact opposite of college football in America, which is why I fucking hate it, is because they put up like the premier teams against just some kind of scrubs, and they get blown out by 100 points. Like, it's like no one gives a shit about those games, and it's super boring. So that does sound like a better system. But I just think when I like review soccer games, like I played soccer, I know how the game works, but just the upper management stuff is always a little beyond me.
Yeah, it takes a little. It's a different system. It really is. But you have to realize that they have had hundreds and hundreds of years to fine-tune it. You know, hundreds.
I think it'd be funny if one week Leon comes in here and he's like, "Yeah, I played a sports game." That would make my week.
Oh man, that cricket game I played, World Cricketer. Yeah, I know.
Oh my god, I have to find a multiplayer cricket game now.
That would be the next, like when we played Farmageddon. We're all Googling cricket video game right now.
We probably are.
They do exist.
Oh, you know they do.
Captain Cricket Coach 2007. There's a Wikipedia page, cricket video games.
All right.
Cricket 07, Cricket 96, International.
I'm gonna look into it. You guys know I will.
So, yeah, someone on an earlier episode was commenting when we're going to do another like Let's Play like we did of Farmageddon. Would you guys have any ideas for things we could play together? Because we are not good at anything. So I worry that we would be boring if we weren't.
I'm good at some things, but most of those things I'm good at are pretty bad. I'm
on Amazon. Cricket games are expensive.
Probably.
It's $90 for International Cricket 2010.
Well, off
expensive.
Amazon, yeah. We could probably get some off of like a digital distribution service for a little cheaper. Like Desura, or maybe, you know.
But if you're gonna play cricket, you gotta go with the PS3. That's the premier cricket platform, I think. I just made that up, obviously.
I assumed so.
I heard that the DualShock 4 is specifically designed for cricket controls.
For that, like you hold it in a certain way, and it gives you that reverberation that you're like, oh, that feels like I'm sticky wicket.
That's what the trackpad is for. You guys seen that, right? The DualShock 4 controller.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what are they going to use that pad for?
Touching things.
It feels like they're like, the Wii U has a thing in its controller. We got to get in on that.
Things in the controller pretty much make or break a system. I mean, just ask the Dreamcast.
I forgot about that.
Blam.
I kind of do want to see like a console fail like the Dreamcast, because that was before I was like into video games. Like, I mean, I play video games, but like not really into the hobby, so I didn't really get to witness that like as it happened. I think it'd be interesting to just see a failure of that magnitude. Like the Vita hasn't quite reached it yet, but I think that would be interesting.
I think we'll only see it when another company folds, when they throw in the towel. You know, because, I mean, it's not like Sega has ceased to exist as a company, but they were like, fuck it, no more. And even if the Vita goes, Sony's still going to be making consoles. They're still going to be doing the PS4, you know, they'll probably continue to truck on sometime after that. But if, like, Microsoft releases the Q-Zone, and then is like, you know what, no. And then just, like, you know, jump ship, that'll be it.
Yeah.
Like the Dreamcast failed so hard that Sega was just like, you know what? Not playing this game anymore.
And have you guys been hearing about the Gearbox Sega stuff? Like, there's some people who are saying there might be some lawsuits now.
The accusation is that Gearbox has actually like embezzled money.
Yeah,
some blogger wrote that they were doing that or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, but basically, Sega canceled Aliens at one point because they knew it sucked, and then they asked for more money, and it got uncanceled, and that money probably went to Borderlands because they just basically farmed it out to the Aliens to Timegate. I don't know if we'll see anything come of that, but it is pretty interesting, and it's one of many recent disappointments Sega has endured. I don't know. I mean, they'll be around, but...
The thing is that it's a little difficult to blame Sega for something that they were just handing money over for, and I could understand why they would be upset about it, but honestly, it's kind of like if they didn't have people on the ground, playing Aliens Colonial Marines, if they didn't have people going into Gearbox's office and being like, I want to see how my money's being spent, then you made a big mistake.
Yeah, you think they just gave them too much freedom?
I don't even think it's necessarily that, I think it's just that they just must have assumed that the license meant a license to print free money, and that quality didn't matter, and that if you handed off enough money to Gearbox, because everybody loves Gearbox, that they'd walk out the other end of that maze and just fucking lay a golden egg and be like, Aliens Colonial Marines. It came out of my butt. Not that eggs come out of butts, but
that should have been the tagline.
I would have felt a lot better about getting the game that I got if that was how Randy Pitchford announced it went gold.
That would be a pretty great marketing scheme.
Aliens Colonial Marines. It came out of my butt.
This has been a butt-centric episode. First you were really butthurt, and now things are coming out of your butt.
I wasn't really butthurt.
You were pretty butthurt.
No, honestly, if they announce that Diablo 3 is gonna go offline capable on PC, I'm probably still not gonna spend money on it. Because, I mean, things that I heard after the fact, the game's been out.
That ship has sailed. The ship is gone.
Absolutely has sailed. It's over the horizon and away. You can't sell me a ticket on that boat for like $10 and be like, oh, come on, it's better than nothing. You can walk up the gangplank. But a number of the things that made me decide not to buy the game, they've now backed away from, and are apparently unwilling to discuss with their PC audience. As if, they grabbed all the money and ran to the next possible market that wouldn't know what the fuck was going on in order to get more money from them. It's like they're not even willing to discuss their failings as a developer.
Leon, I'm going to need you to weigh in on here. Is he butthurt?
I think he has reasonable points to make, and butthurt is usually sort of flailing madness, that to me anyway, so I feel like he's okay.
Flailing madness?
Yeah, not doing a lot of flailing.
Is that half Kermit the Frog, half Cthulhu?
That I just got a very interesting Muppet design in my head there.
That's flailing madness. It's an evocative phrase.
Yeah. Yeah! Yay! No? Nobody?
Yeah, okay. No, I get it. Now you're alright. I'm gonna go soon, so,
Alright.
I feel like I need to, start some music to play you off a little bit.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we go?
My conscience is clean.
I don't believe that for a second.
You kidding? My conscience is always clean.
If you say so.
Yeah.
What
does that tell you about my sense of guilt?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We've done and said things during this recording that you should be pretty ashamed of, so...
And yet, I am not. I had seen it hours ago.
Oh, I guess what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to go play Fire Emblem.
You don't say.
I just did. Do you want to talk in vague terms about stuff?
I imagine a man very close to me right now. One who could speak to me, who's probably really going to enjoy a game. It's a handheld console, I can't tell which. Might be a PS Vita.
See, now I know you're lying because no one's ever enjoyed a PS Vita.
I really want to go. I try to be like sort of like nudge you towards it, but
Get out of here, you lovable scamp.
You know, is there any like sort of closing thing you have to say about premonitions or something before I go? I don't.
Not especially. I mean, I got really vague ones. I think at some point in time tomorrow the sun's gonna come up. Maybe there's gonna be violence at like I don't know, a couple of years from now. Not with you, but like in general.
Well, yeah.
I sense a cold winter.
I'm leaving you, Johnny.
Aw.
I was wondering if I could just say that in a really sad way and make it sound like it, even though I'm really just going. So I'm going now.
You'll come back, Leon.
I always come back. Never mind. I was gonna go in a really weird place, and now I'm just gonna press this little red button and stop saying things now.
Okay.
Because that's something I do. Bye.
Leon!